Did you save the other one?
Yes, really.
Did you?
Yes. All right. It is the Zoo Crew Redo podcast, part 2. Hopefully everyone's got us on your subscription services on iTunes and Spotify and all that. And we welcome you yet again. It's Scott Hastings and Andy Lindahl. And we've changed. So even though we're recording a part 2 for some of you, we changed outfits. There's a vest on. I took a sweatshirt off. We're on a couch. Now we're inside, so I think we're good with the social distancing. That probably crossed the line there. But anyway.
Hey, Warden! I need some hand sanitizer. It's on top of the kitchen. The refrigerator.
Now that we're inside his house, things could get a little bit nutty.
Things can start flying.
Yeah. By the way, we'll let you know a lovely art up above.
Look what you're doing. You're blowing away. You're blowing up your audio over there.
I know. Sorry. I'll turn it down. Who knew? We'll be okay. We'll adjust it later. All right. So, welcome to Twitter, everybody. We're happy to have you along.
Is this my Twitter?
This is your Twitter. So now we're on Scotty's. Yes, we switched it all up. So now we're on Scott's Twitter.
Yeah.
You know what? I guess I could use my phone, but it's holding it up. We're not going to worry about all that stuff right now. All right, so in our last episode, when we last left our hero, Scott Hastings was tied up and a bomb was about to go off, and it turns out Andy didn't give a damn because he was at a bar.
You know, seriously, that's the first time I ever heard you do that accent. That's good.
That little
Flash.
Flash.
Yeah.
No, that was I was a latchkey kid growing up. You know what that is, right? Where you let yourself in after school. Yeah. So I watched a lot of cartoons. Will they get out? We don't know. Thundercats. Will we ever find out why the hell there's mutant cats running around?
And we went from that voice on voiceover work to like Alan Roach.
Right.
Thundercats.
Yeah, it was.
Sunday. Why the hell is there only one female character amongst all men in Thundercats, He-Man, and G.I. Joe?
No, do it real fast. Do the Flash guy
Flash!
voice, but do it as Darth Vader. Luke, you're my...
I can't do that. All I can do is the breathing.
Say, Luke, I'm your father, but do it like in that Thundercat voice. In that Flash.
No.
Luke, you are my father.
Flash.
Can you do a Darth Vader?
Yes, but I want you to do it like...
Flash!
So you don't follow the train of thought.
I don't know.
The train of thought was back in the day, you had a squeaky voice like that.
Right.
Now you have James Earl Jones, and you have Alan Roach. You have these...
Flash!
So if you get it done...
So you got to sit up.
Luke,
This is
you
where
are my father.
Coach used to say,
Come from where you live.
so I'm up.
Is that the guy is that the guy living down in the van?
Probably. Anyway.
Flash.
Is that what you want?
No, the voice you were just doing, the Flash.
Flash!
Yeah. Luke, you are my father. I just...
So now you just want random movie lines? Am I your puppet?
No, my point being, these great voiceover guys like
James Earl Jones
and Roach now are this. Back in the 70s, it was Flash.
Yeah, it was. Nasally TV
So I'm
guy.
just saying,
Luke, I'm your father.
Yeah, it wouldn't have had the same...
Flash! Luke, I'm your father. Give me your hand. We'll rule the universe. No?
Would you please tell everybody on my Twitter that you haven't yet to start drinking or anything today?
No, I'm totally sober. Can you imagine living? This is just on all the time. Right here.
Yeah. That's that might be why you're always exhausted.
Nah, people just wear me out. You know what I mean? You go to the store, like I had one. Here's what I dealt with today. Here's where I will say, calm. I'm like a duck, all right? calm on top of the water. Yet here I am just trying to get in a lane at Target today to just check out, and it's one of those things where you end up with more than you thought and all that stuff. And some lady stops, goes to this lane, then immediately just takes one step. Now I had the room to hip check her ass out the way and take the damn lane that I wanted, but I thought I'm going to be polite.
She's trying to double lane it.
Yeah, then she saw me going for the open one, and then all of a sudden she's got to be over there, and I'm like, I'm not playing this today. I'm not doing this today. But deep inside, I wanted to
You know what you got to do?
That's my lane.
You got to show her the inside, then take her on
Right.
the outside.
That's where you got to give the little shake and bake, little outside and back in.
Shake and bake. That's right. I was thinking Days of Thunder. But
Shake and bake.
Yeah.
Shake and bake.
I can make it on the outside.
So anyway, hey, so we had this. I almost came in and asked you guys this question on the radio show the other day.
I've got one for you today, too, so don't let me forget my question today.
Should we go first? Are you worried about yours?
No, I'm not worried about
Okay.
mine. Mine's
All right.
Mine's not a question. You just went off on things that kind of annoy you, people.
People.
It's real simple for
People
Andy.
tend to annoy me.
People.
Boom.
I went out actually and played golf today, and with all the virus scare, they're going to close the course for 2 weeks. And I'm like, what? Okay, so no virus on a Saturday, but starting Sunday there could be a virus. Kind of like all the kids are in school on Friday, but on Monday they're going to be out because there might be a virus. What about Friday? What, all of a sudden one day? One day? No one's going to be sick on one day?
So I talked to my buddy, our buddy, Mark Johnson, and he said, I was like, what's it like in the Pac-12 tournament before CU crap the bed and then, they shut the whole thing down? And he said, well, it's weird because, and he said it in his big Mark Johnson voice, which is just like Alan Roach. But he said that the buffet was open, but come Sunday, they were shutting the buffet. So after the Pac-12 tournament, all buffets in Vegas were down. So, and now there was someone that tested positive coronavirus at the MGM, so away we go. Yeah, but to your point, I was like, really? The buffet, you know what? Of all the things I think I'll live without is a buffet. Am I not quite sure about something? Yeah, maybe, I feel like if we're all outside, doesn't it feel like you're a little bit safe because it's open air? But let's not all go share a buffet.
Oh, real fast. Flash. There's germs.
Flash.
There's germs at a buffet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
just now?
Have you ever skipped a buffet because of who was in front of you?
It's now because we got a deadly virus. Really?
Yeah.
Like there ain't been dudes with deadly viruses
hey, man.
been eating the tapioca for the last 10 years?
Let me tell you why guys like me and Scott ain't afraid of no buffet. Growing up in the 80s, when you went to the Pizza Hut salad bar, all they had was like a glass lighting deal. There wasn't even plastic. Sneeze on it if you want to. Let's just illuminate where the tomatoes and the... Remember that? Pizza Hut has a salad bar, and there was no plastic.
So let me ask you this. Do you remember?
I lived through that.
You remember the first time that you had the sneeze barrier thing or whatever?
Yeah.
Lack of a better force field.
It was the sneeze barrier. That's the sneeze guard.
When the first time someone told you, oh, well, that's a sneeze guard. Okay, so did you not go up and just sneeze on it on purpose?
No, but I was. Did you?
Yeah, I think it's. I want to see if it works. Oh, yeah.
No, but I couldn't maneuver my salad anymore. You know what I mean?
Reach. Sometimes it's too low.
It's all off.
It's like the time you're a little kid, you get your arm stuck in a Coke machine trying to reach in and get a pop out. It was like that trying to get the tapioca, and it doesn't work. Here's what I think I want to bring up to you, because I've heard this forever, and I do a golf show, and I play golf, and I've had at times in my life I was really good, and not very good now. I'm trying to pick it back up. I haven't played a lot over the last handful of years. But there's an old saying golfers use all the time that I guess maybe we call this our Part 2 podcast the No BS podcast.
Might just be two guys on a couch soon.
Yeah, well, that might be too. Nothing wrong with that.
God, I feel fluffy. Anyway, tell people.
You look fluffy too.
I do look a little fluffy.
There's an old saying in golf. People say a bad day of golf is still better than your best day of work. That's total BS.
Just say it. He's calling bullshit.
It is no. Anybody who's ever golfed and actually enjoys it, a bad day of golf sucks. There's nothing worse than that, to go there. Hey, let me spend 4 hours and be really bad at something. Is there anything else we would do in our lives for 4 straight hours and suck at and take that and then come back? Well, I could have been working. Hell, I wish I was working.
At least I'd accomplished something.
I called you up and said, let's go do a podcast for a couple hours. Let's sit in the room and make things up and talk. No, a bad day of golf, there's nothing worse. If you're a golfer, please write us if you can write us. I don't even know.
Tweet at us at Scott _ is it Scott Hastings?
It's just at Scott Hastings.
At Scott Hastings. Just send us a tweet.
Send us a tweet. Seriously, for golfers, a bad day of golf sucks. There's nothing good at that. You know what I'd rather do? I'd rather pick up dog poop in my yard than to have a bad day of golf. I'd rather spend an hour in my backyard picking up all the stuff my dog chews and eats and then poops out a little bit later. I would rather pick that up for hours than a bad day of golf.
Now, is it when only you are bad? Is it because only you are bad? Or is it like, what if everyone else is bad too? First day out on the range, everybody stinks.
Well,
does that help?
Listen.
Is that a little bit better?
Let's tell you how bad it is. When you're playing with Warden, who's like a 36 handicap, and she beats you, that's a bad day of golf.
So it's a pride thing. Look, I've been there. I don't know about you.
No, I just don't like. I'm at the age now, Andy. Listen, I've been through puberty. You know,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I went through manscaping before I ever had to manscape. Okay. There was a time in junior high I was running around. I go, "Hey, manscape? No, I just haven't had puberty yet." I've been through that fight. Improve. Shoot left-hand shots. Go to the golf course. Hit wedges. I've done that. But golf is a skill you could lose. It ain't like riding a bike. Like right now, there's a bike out in the garage. We can pump some air in the tires.
We go,
and we could run, and wouldn't crash.
We could be Crew Jones and go ride hell track.
We could. What he said.
You don't even know what that is, do you?
I have no idea.
Watch the movie Rad tonight.
Rad
for radical. Rad.
It sounds like a skateboard movie.
It's a bike movie. We're gonna go ride hell track. He takes his bike to the
Is that the one where
prom.
it's at the very top and they come down the hill and they have a big race?
He and Lori Loughlin, before she got a kid into school. Went to prom on their bikes.
You mean Miss Becky?
Miss Becky.
Yeah, before Miss Becky.
Yeah. They went to prom on their bikes because that happened all the time.
Who knew that it was illegal for parents to try to buy their kids' way into stuff?
Who knew? Anyway, hey, back to your bad day of golf. So I'm just curious because, for me, I suck, period, all the time. I've set the record for most strokes at the CU Golf Tournament for media. So that's where I'm at. But I try not to care.
I've
never been good.
But you've never tried to be good at it, have you?
No, I haven't. Well, there was one. There was one summer, that was it, and didn't get very far. You know how it is. I want to play well enough that I can just not hold the guys up when we go enjoy it. It's kind of like the fishing story I told in the last episode. I just want to be out there to where we can keep going. But I'm also smart enough to know.
How about the days of Call of Duty that you stopped playing because you didn't think you were good enough with some of the
got angry.
Some of the guys we played with and you wouldn't play?
We had a sniper guy and that was recovering from a combat wound in Hawaii who went by the name Maui Groom. So, Maui, if you're out there, hey.
Well, that wasn't the sniper guy. That was the other guy.
Well, whatever. We had 3 really good
Denver,
guys.
Actually. Oh, we had 2 or 3 really good guys, yeah.
So, but here's the thing. I always, if my irons are working, my driver isn't, and my putt never is, but I'm usually pretty good with my sand wedge and my pitching wedge. So, I don't know. I mean, whatever. You know what? For me, it's just a way to get out.
Anytime you put time in and you got to where you were proficient enough at the level you wanted to be proficient at. I was never going to be a professional golfer, but I think at one time, I'd go out and I knew I was going to shoot a 75 to an 81 every time. Well, now that's my head.
Right. That's the standard.
My head, that is my standard. And now you add, 15 years to that, and really playing 5 times maybe the last 6 or 7 years, that ain't your standard.
No.
You don't stay there. You say, okay, my best round ever was a 72. That's where I'm going to be at forever. It doesn't stay that way.
Okay.
So don't tell me a bad day of golf is better than a good day of work, because I would much rather go to the radio show or do this podcast and have fun and walk out and be laughing and feel like you did something for 4 hours than play around at golf and stink.
But let's go ahead and lay on the couch a minute. Is it because you weren't good today, or is it because someone in particular was better?
No.
Because we all have that one friend that we don't like having them being better than us.
No, it had nothing to do with that. You know what it was? It was 38 degrees when we started. And I'm like, there's going to be enough sunny days. Why do I?
It never seemed like a good idea to begin with, right?
Why do I want to go play golf in the cold? And then you hit 1 or 2 bad shots and go, I knew I didn't want to play golf today. It was cold. Why do I play golf in the cold? I didn't want to in the first place. So now I'm angry the whole time. They talk me into it. I said, okay, now just grind. And then you're okay, I'm going to grind this, and I'm going to start scoring back because I'm grinding.
Oh.
That doesn't work.
See, you and I are a lot alike.
So,
because once you're kind of in a mood, well, look, anything up early for me, I'm in a mood, all right? Yeah. I am in a mood. There's only one thing I'm getting up for, and I'm probably going to bed after. going right back to sleep after. That's all. That's the only thing worth getting up for.
And think about it. She only wasted 2 minutes. I wasted 4 hours.
Yeah. Sometimes a minute. Sometimes. Anyway, so I'm sorry for you. Can we go this summer? Try to resurrect that experience? Are you off golf for a while? Like Mark Schlereth, our buddy, he just quits it. He just quit. He's like, you know what? I suck. I'm done. And then he'll go out like 3 months later.
You know what I do? I usually quit it around when football starts because we're, at camp for 5 straight days and then the weekends or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I usually, once late August, 1st September at the latest rolls around, I don't play. In fact, I hadn't played since September, and it's, March 14th or something like that today. Today's the Pi Day, by the way.
Yeah.
0.0, what is it?
312 or something. I don't know.
Hey, Ellie.
314.
What's pi? 3.1415.
Boom.
Thank you. That's my 5-year-old had to
tell you.
Tell us.
Because she's smart.
Wait, what's pi, boo?
3.1415.
Atta girl.
5.
Nice job, little lady. I called her little lady, and she went into your gal earlier, and she goes, he just called me little lady. And I can't tell if she liked it or not.
Your first little kid crush?
What? Me?
She could be, maybe she had a little kid crush on you.
Maybe. Or maybe she just doesn't want to be called little lady. I couldn't tell. I couldn't tell the tone.
Because you know what? There are no ladies in this household. That's for sure. So what was your question?
Well, so this was, we were having fun with this. First and foremost, I want to ask you, what's the coolest, since you're over the golf, what's your coolest putt-putt golf? Because I was telling Brett Kane, who is from Detroit or from Nebraska, where the hell he's been. I don't know, Brett, and I don't care.
He's from Nebraska but likes Detroit.
Right. I know. Your dad could have done a lot better. But we love Brett Kane. But
and that's what his mom said.
Yeah, sure. I was telling him about some of the cool putt-putt courses we had. Because, we're all trying to figure out what we're going to do without sports on TV. Have you been to adventure golf?
No.
You haven't been to adventure golf?
I don't. Andy, now real fast, this is going to sound elitist. I was a golfer. We don't putt-putt.
Can you put this closer to your mouth?
I was a golfer. We don't putt-putt.
Okay, but would you go putt-putt just for fun? You and I have a couple bourbons. We've got a driver that night. And we go putt-putt at adventure golf. What do you say?
No.
They've got a really cool, Lost Island-themed one. They got skulls that sing to you. They've got these spears with skulls on the top. And they sing, Mr. Christopher Columbus. And then a fifth skull jumps in and goes, bum. All while you're trying to putt.
Is that
There's a volcano.
On Mineral and Windermere?
No. This is way up off 92nd and Sheridan. It's Highland Hills Adventure Golf.
No,
They've got 3 different courses. They're outstanding.
I might take my young daughter if she wants to putt-putt. But no, putt-putt never intrigues me.
Okay.
Do you bowl?
I bowl.
Do you ever go to the Funplex right up here?
It's gone, but I did.
No, the one that's in the mall now. There's a bowl.
Oh, yeah, we've been there. Oh, yeah.
Why don't we ever meet up
You
over
want
there?
some of that?
Well, I'm not any good.
Well, neither am I.
I once won a regional tournament when I was in 8th grade and went to state in bowling.
Did you have a sweet Ernie McCracken ball with the rose inside?
You know what I had my grandmother's ball that she fit it to my hand. She had let me have her ball, and I fit to her hand. And bowled in regionals with this massive handicap. I bowled a 201 and a 197 and a 184, and I won regionals because I had this massive handicap. And I went to state and just got waxed. They actually had the floors with real wax on it, so your ball hit it, and your ball would go, and you're like, oh my God, what's going on here?
So you know what? Lesson: Scottstown sucked.
Yeah, we didn't have real. Yeah,
how many bowlers?
I don't want to say anything about our bowling alley growing up, but they were throwing sawdust on the thing. They thought it was like the shuffleboard game. I said, no, it's bowling, and you're supposed to have oil. No, I just told this salt, the sand, it works fine.
You ever Neanderthal it and just go outside the holes and just roll it with your hand?
No.
Well,
see, I take certain sports very seriously.
Sure, bowling elite. Who knew? Who knew? By the way, that's the only thing on tomorrow. The PBA has not canceled. Because of the coronavirus.
Well, I have to admit, growing up in Canada, I watched PBA almost every Saturday.
You got a guy? Got a guy you remember?
Earl, what was it?
I don't know. What are you looking at
Old
me
guy
for?
with the
I don't
yellow-
know.
The guy,
Comb over?
The guy that won all the stuff. The skinny dude,
Look,
the blonde hair. The
Ernie McCracken. That's who I know.
Yeah.
That's
See,
the best I got
See,
for you.
I was more the guy off the farm, right? I was the other guy.
You were
Yeah,
the big Amish dude.
Yeah, I was a big Amish dude. That
All
was
right.
me.
So
But I don't putt.
Well, yeah,
I would
too.
go with my little kid thing. There used to be a show on TV. They had a professional putt league.
Yeah.
And they may still do it.
Oh, they're going to have to. They may have to. The hell else are we going to do?
I don't know. How about enjoy each other?
Yeah, that won't happen. You could hope, but that won't happen.
I mean, how
can't
about
put touch on my
spend
face.
time? I'm going to spend time with my daughter. We're going to read a book.
Good.
Tonight.
Hey, good. Good. Now you're a spend time elitist. Good for you. Good for you.
What do you mean it's spend time elitist?
Hey, I'm going to get to know and reconnect with my family while you're trying to bond with me. I've got no time for you, even though I literally have nothing to do.
Are you one of those guys that have to? Are you a watch the sports all the time guy?
No, not really. I'm okay. I'm going to go do a funny video on sports. Like, I've got a whole video series planned. You ought to join me one day. So I'm going to bring my VCR quarterback in, and I've already talked to Alex, our social media guy. Like, I'm going to roll the dice and do my move, and then I'm going to run out, and, you're going to have to run back in and do hand sanitizer and take your move, and then, you'll have to run out, and that's what games are going to become right now. And then I'm going to go throw against my throwback by myself. Because that's how we're going to
You have a throwback for lacrosse?
Well, yeah, it wasn't really for me, but, the boy was like, oh, lacrosse. And then he was like, baseball. He's like, that all sucks. So someone's got to use it.
Is it one of those big net things you throw into?
No, it's a big trampoline thing that just bounces the ball back to you.
But was it for baseball or is it for?
No, it's for lacrosse.
Oh. I had one for baseball when I was a kid.
All right.
Yeah, I was American.
Yeah, so am I. Do you want me to throw you the classic line? Lacrosse is the original game because it was played by the Indians, you moron, the Native Americans, the people that were here when we got here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wonderful.
Wonderful.
And see, I'll be politically correct, and I'll let you just have that last word, and I won't say anything. That being said, I think lacrosse is a wonderful game.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't have to
You
talk
and I one
lacrosse on
time.
this. Nobody wants to hear about lacrosse.
First time I ever played catch with anybody was with you in KOA's parking lot because my daughter had picked it up. Remember?
Yeah,
and I was
trying to show you how to help her throw.
And then you didn't tell me that there's a big difference between a
girl's stick
and a boy's.
Yeah, they don't have a pocket.
They don't have a pocket.
I don't get it.
Which is
Their
easier,
game is technically harder.
Which is easier to throw but harder to catch for me.
Yeah.
For me.
Because it doesn't go, well, there's less spin on the ball because it doesn't matter. Hey, so here's what we were talking about.
We could do a whole lacrosse podcast someday.
We could, but I'll probably find somebody else
fishing.
to.
Do you realize the 2 podcasts in a row we talked fishing, bowling, and putt-putt?
This is life without the NBA or NHL, my friend.
Welcome
to the future.
Welcome to Westworld.
Welcome to another month.
Do you think they'll help hurry up the invention of Westworld?
I hope not. Let me throw this at you.
Would you go to a Westworld if it was real?
I don't know. I've only watched a couple episodes. I really don't know what the hell's going on.
Did you ever see the movie?
No. I didn't know there was a movie.
Yul Brynner. He was the bad cowboy.
Hey, I'm sorry that I didn't catch it. Yul Brynner flick.
Oh, I'm sorry, Magnificent Seven, one of the greatest westerns of all time. Sorry, Anna. Boy, are you from here? I mean, were you born here at all?
Yeah, man. Colorado, born and raised.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it a state yet?
Let me ask you, what's better? What's better? 310 to Yuma or Unforgiven? The original, the new 310 to Yuma, I think's better than Unforgiven.
I do too.
Well,
I liked Unforgiven. I like Clint Eastwood. He doesn't do bad movies. I thought the last 15 minutes of Unforgiven was great. I don't need all your moral, baggage.
Sure.
From a lifetime of wasting people. I don't need that to come back with a couple drinks and my buddy's dead. 310 to Human, I thought it was good. I like all the participants aboard on the movie.
He was a drunk Popeye in Unforgiven. Oh, now you got me mad. Give me bourbon, spinach, and I'm going to waste the town. Great movie.
Except for the last 20 minutes, it's cool though.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I don't mind some of the old westerns. I didn't mind some of the old John Wayne flicks. I'd watch those for fun, especially on like crush trips and stuff. So this is the stuff we're going to be getting into. So here's really what I wanted to dig in, and I was excited to talk to you about this on the show that one day, and then you forgot and did your own show. But actually, this came up during the week. I wanted to ask you and Josh this on Friday because you were talking about it. So with us trying to figure out, we've all thrown out there we ought to see some classic games, and ESPN, the NFL, they ought to put some stuff on in the time slot so we still have something to fill the time. But let me ask you this. In any sport, any team, doesn't have to be Denver. If you could watch every game from a season, and you got to watch every game, which one you doing?
What sport or what player or what person?
What season? What team, what season? Are we talking like, would it be your bad boy team just to relive your championship run from outside instead of inside? I mean, for me, with all due respect, I don't want to anger you. You know how much after you left, I really loved the Bulls teams. I just thought it was a fun time in basketball. I could watch any of those Bulls runs. I could watch the Lakers-Celtics series.
I think if the NBA, and I said this on the radio, that they've got the NBA and all these professional leagues have to loosen the reins as far as rights and stuff.
The archives?
And the archives, and let them out to some of the, especially the sports regionals and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of NBA fans that have heard, obviously, of Bird and Magic because, they won't let all the history die, that never saw Bird and Magic.
Right.
And go back to one of those 86 series or 85 or, any of the years when they were head-to-head in the finals. Go back and watch those. I mean, they're pretty phenomenal. I would do that. The 89-90 series I would go watch because I want
you to watch the whole season though, because you know what, I'd take and I'll give you this, that Nuggets team, and I believe you were on it. Were you calling the games, or were you on the Nuggets team that upset the Sonics?
My first year broadcast,
93-94. I would go back and watch that whole season again. And you know what? They are 42-40. You could go to the 2009 Nuggets. You could go to the Nuggets. There's a lot of great Nuggets teams you could go to, but just the pure fun of LaFonso and Dikembe and Brian Stith and Robert Pack and Reggie Williams, and I'd forgotten, Brian Williams, now Bison Delay is on that team. I can't remember if he was Mahmoud or if he was Chris Jackson, but either way, he was fun on that team. Mark Macon was still it was just a fun team. It was a fun team. It was a fun year, and you had a great series against Utah after you upset Seattle.
7 games, win 7
so,
games.
I'd go back and watch that. I'd go back and watch the Avs' first season.
I went to a bone at you because I wasn't born, or I had just been born, one of the two. But Wilt Chamberlain, one year, I think it was 60-61, averaged 50.4 points a game and 25 rebounds. I would like to go back.
Just see what that looked like?
Just to see what 50 points average a game, and he averaged over 48 minutes played. He didn't need any what's the rest thing they call now, the
load management.
He didn't need it. He averaged over 48 minutes because he played not only the 48 minutes, the handful of overtime games, he played all those minutes too. So he averaged more minutes than there are in an NBA game, and he averaged over 25 rebounds.
And he got back to the room and still had some game going on, if you know what I mean. Hey.
He was a wild and crazy guy.
It was the 70s.
60s,
right?
Actually.
Was it the 70s or the 60s?
60-61.
Well.
But I mean, and in that year was that 100-point game.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just watched them. Put the 100-point game on.
I don't think it's
put the 100-point game on.
I don't think that anybody has film on it. I think there's audio, some lost audio somebody found of it, but there's no video of it.
That's crazy. So let me throw a couple at you.
But you had Russians trying to put Sputnik up in the air. You were too busy doing other stuff back then, I think.
Going to the moon?
Yeah.
Let me throw some at you then. Remember the show we did on going to the moon, and it went on for like a week because Fox did that special, whether we really did or not, and everybody just wanted to call up and fight every day?
Right.
Good zoo stuff. So let me throw this at you real quick then. I'm going to make you decide between a couple teams. The 09 Rockies or the 07 Rockies? The 07 was the wild card team, and that was an incredible 30 days of baseball. The 09 team, though, was when Jim Tracy takes over early June for Clint Hurdle. And to me, Scotty, and you know me, I'm obviously not the biggest baseball fan, still like the sport, but not as big. I remember just loving watching that whole summer of the 09 team. They just were playing good, fun baseball, and I found myself, like most of us do, checking in on a game and just kind of sitting with it the whole night, not really wanting to flip out because it was always so much fun. And even though there was a better run to be had in 07 that got you the World Series, I would contend if you had to watch a whole season, the 09 was more enjoyable for a longer period of time.
I would say this, though. That last month of 07 season.
Oh, it was unexplainable.
It was like, hey, they won 4 in a row. And then, hey, by the way, they won 5 after being kind of dismal most of the year. And then all of a sudden it caught on. They're still using it, 13 years later, Rocktober. It's Rocktober. Yeah, Rocktober got you swept by the Milwaukee Brewers. So I don't know. That run, man, I remember the city. That's when the city, because listen, the city was excited when baseball came here. The city was excited that was it 05 when they had the All-Star game here, I believe.
98.
Was that 98?
With Walker and Helton
and they had the All-Star game here.
Yep.
And they excited and all that stuff. But 07, that last month, they were bigger than the Broncos.
Okay, so let me throw this at you. What would you watch for more inexplicable then? 07 Rockies or 2011 Broncos with Tim Tebow and whatever they did that second half of the year?
Watched all those games, and they were exciting, and you just couldn't believe it because even when you're down, you think it was over. But
it was tough to watch most of the game.
But
right?
For 3 quarters of the game, can we get to
just go to the fourth quarter?
Can we get to Tebow time? Is it Tebow time yet? honey, Tebow time. But I'm going to tell you what, for just pure good and be fun to see, I'd like to go back and watch the 96, 97 football season, 97 championship, right? So 96, 97.
The Broncos? So what you're thinking is 97, they won the Super Bowl in 98, then the 98
Broncos. I'd love to go back and watch those.
Okay, how about this?
Game for
98 Broncos or 2013 Broncos? Because the 2013 Peyton Manning highest scoring offense ever for a full season, I know people hate the Super Bowl in Seattle and all that, and I get that. But if we all can just divorce ourselves from the emotion of that ass whooping, that we will never see. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, all the great offenses we've seen recently, let this sink in. None of them have put up the numbers that 13 offense put up. None of them. That was some fun football. It was just fun football.
John Fox lost that Super Bowl for them in the 2 weeks leading up to the game.
Yep.
He had an ill-prepared team for what they were about to face. And then the first snap basically goes over Peyton's head for a safety. Game over. I talked to a buddy of mine who was coaching that team. He said we were looking over at Foxy to kind of rally the troops.
Shell shock.
He was shell shocked, and there was no leadership on the sideline, and they could not pull it back. That season was good. People forget too, though. The 97 season, they averaged almost 31 points a game. That wasn't
97 or 98.
The
second
year,
one, 98.
The first year was just under 30,
right.
And the second year was almost 31. So, they averaged basically 30 for the 2 straight years running. But that second year, and Terrell's 2,000 yards. You and I remember doing those games. I remember the Dallas game. And this is just straight up. Dallas had been the beast just 2 or 3 years earlier. Terrell's got 185 yards after 3 quarters, doesn't even play the fourth quarter.
Dallas and Philly back-to-back in Denver. He didn't have to play the second half. They just whooped them. They just put the foot on the gas and crushed them. And I can remember the Dallas games you're talking about in particular. He had those long runs. It was ridiculous, the long runs he was ripping. He had like 2 long runs. He had 150 yards off like 2 runs.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Okay, so what would you rather? What I think is funny is, like, as much as I love 15 in the Super Bowl, that's another. Now, I love watching that D, but that was a tough offense to watch. Yeah. Who do you think would win? And this is what I wish we could play out in a computer simulation or something, because we know guys from both teams, and they both. Now, I will say the 98 team, it was much different offensive rules, but same for the defense. The 15 defense against the 98 offense. Who do you think gets the better of that?
Well, it's kind of like Kobe, Michael, who's better?
Game on 101, right?
Yeah, or LeBron or Michael, who's better? What era are you playing? Now, I'll tell you what, that defense was phenomenal, but let that defense play in the 98 rules with that.
Were they allowed to touch people, basically?
That quick-ass offensive line that was able to cut you.
They could cut you, you're right.
Hey, Malik Jackson, let's see how fast you get up the middle.
Yeah,
now.
but remember, Chris and Akeem and Bradley Roby, those guys put hands on Ed. Now, Ed and Rod knew how to get your hands off them, too, to be fair.
But guess what? Even that year, them linebackers going to stop Terrell Davis?
I don't know, man.
After you've cut the backside, and here comes Terrell Davis.
And you got it all day long? I remember Mark Schlereth telling me, and you saw it firsthand, when they played the first Super Bowl of that team's run against the Packers. Gilbert Brown, Mark said by the, and you know what, I once.
Which is one of the first 300-pounder guys.
Right,
like
at
330
DT.
or something.
He was a dominant nose tackle or whatever he played, defensive tackle, whatever. But I remember I was sitting at a dinner with Brian Habib, Dave Diaz-Infante, and Mark Schlereth, and they were telling me how Gilbert Brown, he was so worried about what area they were coming from for his knees, he wasn't even playing in the fourth quarter. He just didn't want to get his knees chopped anymore. That's what they physically and mentally did to them.
The answer and why you can't answer that is if you play in the 98 rules, I'm taking the 98 offense over that of the 2015 defense.
So many times we had guys come in, and I would throw that question, and Ed would be polite to him, but I knew Ed was like, man, we take you. We had you. John Elway, Peyton Manning. Could you imagine those two teams going at each other? It'd be a lot of fun now.
But John Elway's last year, which was still about the same age, John Elway's last year was a little bit better arm than Peyton's last year.
Oh, he still had it despite the blown bicep. I think he could have. What do you think happens? We're in the weeds, but this is what we'll be doing. Who cares? What do you think happens if Elway comes back for 99? Do they go 3 in a row?
Well, you know the Bubby Brister story, right? He was supposed to take him through 10 games. John comes back about week 10, takes a week to practice, then plays the last 5 games, and then
Gary
takes him to the
Zimmerman
Super
kind
Bowl,
of playing,
and
right?
takes him to the Super Bowl. And then once Brister in the third game of the preseason gets blown out for Greasy, that play went bye-bye. Which I think it seems like may have been the true start of Shanahan-Elway problems.
Right. Well, I'd heard there were some. I heard John just. John maybe was tired of getting asked if he was coming back or not. There is some. I'll put it to you this way. I feel comfortable saying this because I don't think this is tails at it. Because for those that wonder why I'm being quaven on a podcast, you still want to respect the people that told you they told you in a barroom setting or something. This isn't. But I think enough people know that John wanted – people felt like Mike wanted – and we see this out of a lot of great coaches. Mike McCarthy did the same thing after Brett Favre. Probably a little of that going on with Aaron Rodgers towards the end too. The coach always wants to prove that he can win without the quarterback. That's one of the things I think that's made Bill Belichick unique. Now, I do think Bill Belichick wants to prove that he can do it without Tom Brady. But, man, he went a lot longer than some coaches do. Belichick just kept collecting rings. Some coaches want to show you that their coaching is as good as the QB that they're sometimes linked to.
Don't you think now, and I know, like you said, we're a little long, don't you think now that Belichick, if he'd had his way, probably would have blown out Brady 3 years ago?
Oh, yeah. Garoppolo would be the quarterback there right now. Don't you think?
Yeah.
And look, I'm going to tell you right now, if the league year does get going, I'm not going to be surprised if he goes to San Fran and Garoppolo ends up back in New England. Because I talked to a few people that told me in specific plays how the Niners left 21 points on the field for that Super Bowl, making wrong reads. Jimmy Garoppolo not making the right reads, not throwing to the right guy.
Well, then why does Belichick want him?
Well, maybe he doesn't. But all I know is for people saying that they don't need Brady. Dude, if Brady goes to the San Francisco 49ers, he stays home in Northern California, he doesn't uproot his life, and he literally just goes in, learns the language. They still can lean on the run if they need to. He's got the tight end that he wants. They can add a receiver, too, if they want. I mean, that's plug and play, man. That's plug and play.
But here's my thought. We'll do this for a later podcast. I think he's done. I think he plays this year. But I think
I would agree with you.
I think his body's done.
We're going to see 2015 Peyton then?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. A lot of fun. We got a couple in this. We'll have these coming out here over the next couple days.
How do you do this, Dom?
Yeah, that's a Catholic. They do that.
Yeah.
They throw holy water on you. And if you're not paying attention, you're like, oh, man, what? Hey.
Maybe that's
comes out of nowhere.
We end every podcast, we just dip the mics into some holy water or some water.
Hey, we might need to. We had a priest when I was growing up. You got to ask Vic Lombardi if you ever see him about Father Greenslade. Homeboy, I don't know how much we spent on incense. He would get that stuff. He'd smoke it out like Vader entering into a room. He'd go around the church, man. It'd be nothing but a cloud of smoke. I was like,
people start bringing racks of ribs into their coat, their jackets.
You get your brisket right before you went home.
If I'm going to be in here for a couple hours, I'm going to get these things smoked.
Well, multitasking. Anyway, hey, we're going to try to do a few more for you guys so that we can keep you entertained. Scotty ain't going anywhere now. So get the subscribe button. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We'll see you next time on the Zoo Crew Redo podcast.